Hey folks, I'm just on call this week in the morning, so I'm not driving into work, and I figured I should probably record a few videos. So I had a couple topics I wanted to do, and they're both regarding communication. So in both of these cases, I'll do two videos, but I feel like it's not going to feel like it's directly software engineering, and I just wanted to have that disclaimer at the beginning because I feel like it really is. It's just that you might not kind of see it on the surface. So as I talk through this stuff, the lens that I would like you to try and have is how it's applicable, like in the workplace or like working with others and that kind of thing. My dogs are barking, and I don't know why because there's no reason for that. So there's two scenarios that I'm thinking through, and I saw them both on LinkedIn, and this is why I said it's probably not going to feel like software engineering, but there's a point here. And the first one, so I guess let me back up. In both of these cases, this is one of these scenarios where like I made a video on this before. Like I feel like it's important to try and do some critical thinking, and in both of these cases, I feel like some of it's missed a little bit. So in one case, I saw someone actually they work at Microsoft, the software engineer. I don't know who they are, but they're on LinkedIn, and I saw them post, and the post was like, if you're on Instagram or if you open up Instagram or Facebook at work, like, or whatever, like, or WhatsApp, like, you've already lost the promotion. And then they go on and write this post, and then I'm like, well, in my first thing that comes to mind is that's stupid, for me, and like that's my inside thought, and I'm like, okay, let's think about this for a second. I realize what they're probably trying to say, which is like, I think their meta point was if you feel like you have time to be doing like other random stuff at work and not focused on doing work, like you're probably not focused on the right things. But what they've effectively done is try to social media it up and get people hooked in. They got me making a video on it right now, right? So clearly it's rage bait enough. But I don't actually think that people. I don't think that people think through this stuff enough. And so what I mean by that is in the comments, I'm reading responses that people are writing, and they're very much like, oh, agreed, like, like these apps are, awful, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, like, hold on, folks. And I went to go write this comment, and I'm like, whatever, I'm not gonna bother. I'll make a video because I'm on call and I'm waiting to get paged. No one's gonna page me though. And I wanted to write, like, guess what, like, the app that my wife and I happen to use is Instagram. That's how we talk. Like, we don't text each other like our phone numbers. We don't send each other emails. We use Instagram, and we message that way. So you're telling me if I open up Instagram at work because my wife's messaging me that I'm not going to get promoted? Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's missing it. And that might not have been exactly what the author meant, but like the fact that I see someone write that, and then I have in the responses a bunch of people going, yeah, like totally, like I agree with this, and it's weird, like, because I'm kind of nervous that people don't end up thinking through things all the way. And the problem with this is that there's a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more people turning to social media to learn about software development, to learn about like what it's like to be in the workplace. You have people that work at companies like Microsoft or other big companies where people are like, I want to do that. And then they read posts like this and they're like, okay, well, better not ever open up social media. Like, man, this is a software engineer saying this. And like, guess what? Guess who's not in charge of promotions? Them. Like, I'm an engineering manager, and I do get to put people up for promotions. And if I had people on my team that were opening up Instagram or Facebook at work, I don't give a shit. Like, if that's all they did, if they were just at their computer, like, scrolling Instagram or, like, on their phone, just, like, watching reels all day, I probably would need to have a conversation with them about that. But, like, that if they were doing their work and getting their stuff done, and then they're like, cool, like I want to take a break and I want to go watch some cat videos for a few minutes or something, I don't care. Do it. Like, go take a walk and scroll on your phone. I don't care. Like, it's not going to not get you promoted. That would be the absolute wrong thing to not promote someone, like, over something like that. But again, I think the message that this person's trying to convey, and I feel like it's completely lost, is that, like, hey, if you got time to be, if you're dedicating your time to not like working on stuff and all that you're doing is that kind of thing, then sure. But it's not what they wrote. So anyway, just first example. I gotta see what's going on. You get the mini house tour. Oh, my wife came home. I'll just close my office door. You can see my blackout curtains. Okay, back to the desk. Okay, the other one I wanted to talk about is another sort of LinkedIn scenario. And what was this one about? Oh, someone was talking about their perspective on hiring. And I think this person actually does do hiring. So they shared a perspective that's actually very similar to mine. And so what they had said was something along the lines of, and I don't have it pulled up on my phone, but something along the lines of like, hey, if I'm interviewing you, the things that I'm looking for are not like your expertise in like a language or a tech stack. They're focused on basically like, are you eager to learn? Do you collaborate well? Like these kinds of things, because their point, and again, I agree with this, their point was more like, if you're a good person to work with, you'll learn these other things. Like, we can teach you a programming language, we can teach you a tech stack. And I agree with that. But their post was written as, they said, like, if I am interviewing you, these are the things that I am looking for. So it's like they explicitly say in their post, like, this is how I look at things. Now, I have, from this person, I see them post a lot, and a lot of the time I'm not a huge fan of like how they sometimes put opinions as like, this is gospel or this is fact, and they didn't do it in this case. And I was like, hey, like, I think that makes sense. And someone else commented, and they're like, well, no, like you need to have these technical skills and all of that. And what people are doing, or they're confusing in this case, is like, this person did not state that you don't need technical skills. They didn't state that. They didn't say that there's no benefit to that. They said, these are the things that I look for when I interview. That's their post. But you can see how this gets tricky, right? Because in the first example I gave you, as the reader, I strongly disagree with what they wrote, and I'm going to have a bias against what they wrote. And in the second example, I agree with what they wrote, and I'm having a bias for people that are disagreeing in the comments. But I think my meta point, the reason I wanted to put this together is like, I think you got to take it with a grain of salt, everything that you read on the internet. You have people that are expressing opinions on things, and they're not necessarily in a position where they can talk about that. So, for example, the person who's talking about, you're not going to get promoted if you open up a social media app, they're not in charge of promoting people. I just wouldn't listen to that advice from that person. And for the person that was saying, sort of disagreeing with the person who actually does interview people, it's not that their opinion is invalid, but they don't hire people. So I don't know. I would personally probably look to the people that are in the position where they can speak about these things. But in all cases, right, like, try to keep an open mind. Try to do some critical thinking, because this is the kind of stuff that when it comes up at work, and I'm going to make my follow-up video on this, you want to be in a position, And when I say position, I mean like an environment, right? You want to be in an environment where you can question things, where you can feel comfortable doing that. Just because you have someone more senior than you that says, "Hey, do X," like it doesn't mean, okay, well, don't ask questions, don't understand things, just get X done, check the box, hand over the result, and say, okay, what's next? Like that is not software engineering. That's just doing tasks, right? So I think you want to be in an environment where you can ask questions, you can do some critical thinking. In my opinion, that is the expectation. And if you're not in an environment like this, like either it's a bad environment to be in, or you can work on trying to improve it. Right? Depends how much time and energy you want to put into these things, but sort of the takeaway point, and wanted to do 2 videos on this. So the next one, I'm going to talk about this idea of like, how do you take things past just like the surface level? And in my opinion, it's not like it's not the only ingredient for engineering, but I think it's like a critical skill or critical set of things you need to do in order to take things from like, I'm just going to complete tasks, to like, I'm trying to have an engineering mindset when I approach this stuff. So anyway, that's the video. I'll do the next one. And friendly reminder, if you want questions answered, just leave them below in the comments, or you can go to codecommute.com, submit questions anonymously. I got other YouTube channels you can check out as well. Was super stoked to see, I believe his name is Max, one of the viewers. I think he's from over in Europe, I think, based on what I briefly saw on his LinkedIn profile. He shared a link to a Code Commute video, and he said, this channel is criminally unsubscribed to. And I was like, that's super cool. So it does a lot for me if you share stuff. I appreciate that a tremendous amount. Running YouTube channels and stuff is, I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and film things and talk about them, but it's hard to like actually get traction. So sharing and stuff always helps, and I appreciate it a lot. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. It's very related to this one. See ya.